All right, so are you ready for this? We are diving deep into the world of Kellyanne Conway.
Oh, this is going to be good.
We are going to go way beyond those snappy headlines and those little sound bites everyone plays over and over.
Right.
We're going to look at, her journey from growing up in New Jersey all the way to the White House and everything in between.
It's quite a story. You know what really gets me about Conway's story is how it's like the ultimate American dream,
Oh, yeah.
From blue-collar New Jersey to one of the most recognizable faces in American politics.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a journey.
We always hear about rags to riches.
Yeah.
But she actually lived it. And she was super sharp and witty from a young age.
Oh, yeah.
I read that she was like a champion debater, even as a kid.
Wow.
Makes you think maybe that's where it all started.
It makes you wonder, right? Those early experiences, they often shape where we end up,
Yeah.
And she didn't stop there. She honed those skills, got her law degree from Trinity in D.C., and then jumped right into the world of political consulting. Huh. That move really set the stage for her rise in the Republican Party.
And then that brings us to 1995.
Yeah.
When she founded the polling company.
Big move.
This wasn't just a job. It was like a statement.
Totally.
It solidified her expertise, and she was on the map, working with big names in the Republican Party.
She became a master strategist. It wasn't just about the data. She knew how to interpret it, understand what voters were feeling, and then craft stories that really connected with them.
And those skills were about to come in handy.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
2016, the Trump campaign.
Conway jumps in as campaign manager, and, well, the rest is history.
And what a moment in history.
This wasn't just any campaign. This was the first time a woman led a presidential campaign to victory in the U.S.
Ever.
That's a legacy right there.
It really is. And what's interesting is how much her understanding of polling data and, how voters think actually contributed to that win. She had a sense of what America was feeling that few others did.
Can you imagine the pressure? It wasn't just managing a campaign. She was like breaking barriers.
Right.
Defying expectations.
Absolutely.
It shows you how resilient she is, how she can handle anything.
And speaking of pressure, we can't talk about Kellyanne Conway without mentioning alternative facts.
Oh, boy, yeah.
That phrase became a lightning rod.
Oh, yeah.
It sparked all these debates about truth and spin and, how the media shapes what we believe.
It definitely put her in the hot seat. But here's the thing. She never backed down from tough questions, even when everyone was watching.
She faced it head on. And that resilience is another key part of who she is. Her career wasn't always easy.
Oh, definitely not.
There were campaigns that didn't work out, criticisms from both sides, times when the public eye was intensely focused on her.
But she took those setbacks, learned from them, and kept going.
Exactly. That's a lesson for everyone, no matter what you do or what your politics are. We all hit roadblocks. It's how you react that shapes your path. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about getting up and figuring out what's next.
Yeah. And Conway is a great example of that. But let's remember that behind all the politics, there's a person with a life outside of all that.
For sure. And probably the most interesting part of that is her relationship with her husband, George Conway.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a vocal critic of Trump.
Very much so.
And that dynamic, it put their marriage under a microscope.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine their dinner table conversation.
No, right? It was like opposing viewpoints on full display. And of course, the media loved it.
Of course.
And it's a reminder that even when you're in the spotlight, there's a whole private life that we don't always see.
Right.
And it shows how Conway could separate those two worlds, her personal life and her work life, even with everyone watching.
She had to be strong to do that.
Yeah.
It really shows you how tough she is. But, there's another side to Kellyanne Conway.
Right.
It's not all about politics and controversy.
Yeah, she's got a whole down-to-earth side, too.
Exactly.
This is a woman who loves to cook, hang out with her kids. And she's got a great sense of humor, too, I hear.
Really?
And get this, she's a huge classical music fan.
Wow. Who knew?
Right.
It's like this woman who thrives in this crazy world of politics finds peace in classical music.
Yeah.
It's kind of humbling.
Yeah.
It reminds you that even the most public figures have passions outside of work.
Totally. It's good for all of us to remember that.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught up in the headlines and forget that there's a real person behind it all.
It's true. But speaking of her professional life, Conway did eventually step back from the White House.
She did?
She decided to focus on her family.
A lot of people were surprised by that.
They were. but it shows you what her priorities are.
Yeah.
But she didn't disappear completely.
No, she didn't.
She's still a voice in the media, doing interviews, appearing on TV,
Yeah.
sharing her thoughts on what's happening in politics. She even wrote a book giving us a peek behind the curtain of her time in the White House and her take on American politics.
It seems like you can take the woman out of politics, but you can't take the politics out of the woman.
That's for sure.
It'll be interesting to see where she goes from here.
Yeah.
But this whole deep dive into Kellyanne Conway's life, it really makes you think.
It does.
What does her story teach us about ambition and resilience and how to deal with the craziness of public life in the age of social media?
Those are good questions.
Yeah.
Honestly, what gets me is how polarizing she is.
Oh, yeah.
People seem to either love her or hate her. There's not much in between.
Very true. And that kind of reflects the bigger problem we have in society today.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to politics.
It's like we've lost the ability to have real conversations, to disagree without getting nasty.
Right. To see the humanity in people, even when we don't agree with them.
It feels like we're always just looking for things that prove we're right instead of trying to understand other points of view.
And social media just makes that worse.
Oh, absolutely.
It creates these echo chambers where all you hear are the same opinions over and over again, and it lets misinformation and negativity spread like wildfire.
It's hard to know what to believe sometimes.
It is. It makes you wonder if figures like Kellyanne Conway are both a result of this polarized world and also contributing to it.
Yeah, it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation.
Exactly. Did the environment create her, or did she help create the environment?
Yeah.
Probably a little of both.
Probably.
But no matter how you feel about her politics, there are definitely things we can learn from her story.
Oh, for sure.
Her rise from such humble beginnings, breaking those barriers in a world dominated by men, her ability to bounce back from criticism, those are all things to admire.
Totally. And her story reminds us that even the most public figures have their own struggles and complexities that we don't see.
It's a call for empathy, trying to understand each other better and having a more nuanced view of the people who shape our world.
It's also a reminder that success isn't a straight line. There will be bumps in the road, criticism moments when you doubt yourself.
Absolutely.
But it's how you handle those things.
Yeah.
How you learn and keep moving forward that matters.
That's what defines your journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful message for everyone. Don't be afraid to chase your dreams, speak your mind. Fight for what you believe in.
Yeah.
But remember to be kind, to listen to other opinions, and to always keep learning and growing.
Because in the end, it's about being curious and open-minded that helps us grow as people and make a difference.
Well said. And on that note...
Wow, we covered a lot today. From her early days to the White House, all the way to life after politics.
We did.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Kellyanne Conway, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think it's, the importance of looking past the surface. It's so easy to just focus on headlines, sound bites, all those polarized stories we see everywhere.
Yeah.
But Conway's story, it reminds us that there's always more to it than we see at first glance.
That's a great point. It reminds us to question what we think we know, to really dig deeper and find different perspectives.
Right. And to not just put people into boxes, good or bad.
Yeah. It's not that simple. And it's not just about public figures either.
Oh, definitely not.
This applies to everyone we meet.
It does. The more we understand about people and how complicated life can be, the better we can navigate our own lives and make the world a little kinder.
That's really well said. And that's what the deep dive is all about.
Exactly.
We're not here to give you all the answers or tell you what to think.
No way.
We're here to make you curious, to help you think for yourself.
Yeah.
And to remind you that there's always more to learn.
Kellyanne Conway's journey with all the ups and downs, the good and the bad, it's the perfect example of that.
It really is.
It's a story that makes us think critically about things, to question our assumptions, and to be open to new ideas.
Absolutely. So as you go about your day, think about the people you meet, the stories you hear, and what you think about them. Challenge yourself to look deeper, to ask questions, and to embrace just how complex and interesting people really are.
Because ultimately it's that curiosity and open-mindedness that help us learn and grow as individuals.
And that's something we can all work on.
Absolutely.
Well said. That's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
So until next time, keep diving deep.